Welcome to the Crafty Mini, and this is the next episode of the basic sort of videos that I'll be doing. We're looking at basing and how you can make a really simple, effective base, not very expensive, and just add a bit more visual interest to your miniatures. There's various different types, so there's the square, circle. Majority of the games that we play, they're on little circle black discs, but you can get different types, which we will go through in the video. And it's just showing how we can actually jazz these up a little bit and make them look a bit more interesting. So in front of you here is this is a competition piece that I entered. It looks, there's a lot of stuff on there. There's a lot of little bits of detail and things, and I'm going to show you how easy it is to make. Just using some really simple things. You can put as little or as much money into this as you want, but there's also some cheap alternatives. So without further ado, let's get into basing and for beginners, and how you can elevate your miniatures to something a bit cooler looking and a bit more character. Right, so starting off, so this is one of the Death Guard that I did for my army showcase video a few weeks back. And this is one of the sort of proxy miniatures I'm going to be using as part of that army. Just to show you how simple the base is, so they've got pine bark chips, bit of texture paste, and that is it. And it's only when it's painted up that it starts to look a bit more interesting and things. And it's really simple tips like that you can do just to elevate basing for your miniatures. Right, so I'll show you a couple of things that you can use first. So first of all, these diorama effects, they're like a paste that you put on, and they give you different textures. There's that thick mud, wild growth and things. You've also got actual basing materials which you can buy or make yourselves. This is a variety of small rocks from the garden, tea leaves, little bits of clump foil, anything that sort of falls off the desk at the end of a basing just gets put in the pot and it's built up over the years. You've got stuff like this. This is one of my favourites. This is clump foliage. Now, I'm not sure what this stuff's actually made of. It's like a sponge, and there's various colours, and these are really good if you're doing like a wildland or maybe like a forest space. It looks like clumps of moss that have grown up out of the rocks and things, and got a really nice effect. Another one you can use, you can get from like garden centre pet shops, so these fish tank ornaments. They're just plastic plants, but various different scales, sizes and things. Paint up really easily as well. You can use them, cut them up, add things to the bases. This is just another example of another type of basing paste. It's like a water texture. There's snow and other bits and bobs. This is one of my favourites. Really, really cheap. You can get a 5-pack of these, A4 size, for about £2-3, and it's just cork, and you rip off chunks. You can shape it, you can sand it down. Really good, easy way of giving height. The only thing with these is don't just put them on and that's it. Like, you use other materials to sort of mask the fact that it is cork, because sometimes it can be apparent. Another one that you'll see in videos and pictures are these tufts. Again, various different types. They're on these little sheets, and you just rip a clump off or a single tuft off, and they self-adhesive to the base, and you stick them in somewhere. Between rocks or things. It just adds just these little bits of colour, visual interest to the basing. There's various different things. A lot of this I've used over the years. There's things that I sort of lean more to these days now, but we'll go into that a bit later. Another really good and cheap one, this is what I've used on my Death Guard army at the moment, are these pine bark chips. I believe this is for some sort of lizard enclosure for a pet. But it was £2 for a big bag, and I've not even used a third of it on my entire Death Guard army as of yet. And that's what I can show you here. This is what I've used at the moment. So this is really simple, gives a bit of hype, bit of visual interest, and then with the texture paste to sort of bring it all together. It's a really nice, simple way of just adding, again, a bit more visual interest to your basing. Now, another one to mention, just because in the world of 3D printing, you can get bases where it's already got all the texture and the bits built for you. Like this one here, you see there's bits of armour, a sword, it's got the grass and all the detail on there, the rocks. Now, just using some of the items that I've shown there, I'm going to do a really simple little base now. So I've got this old cavalry base, I'm not even sure what this is from. But yeah, the sort of thing that you would get for your miniatures. Ripped up some of the cork, as you can see here, and I'm just going to place them. What I tend to do is dry fit everything first, just to make sure it's all going to fit. and definitely in the poser ones you've also got to take into account if your miniature's standing on this stuff, then obviously where the legs are and the spacing, things like that, take all that into account. But we're just going to do this as an example and build a simple little base. And you can see here, so I'll just dry fit everything, then we'll glue it down and we'll add some of the basing materials. Right, so the bits of cork are glued down using some PVA, really simple. Just going to brush this around with an old brush, getting it up to those little bits of cork and just covering the base, and then we're going to apply the granular base, the base ready stuff that I showed you earlier, and just show you how easily and how simple you can elevate this simple black oval into something that immediately looks a bit more visually interesting. Very, very basic and really easy to do. So as you can see here, so I'm just getting that basing mix and just sprinkling it all over, being really heavy, make sure I get full coverage, and then we'll knock off the excess. And you can see, so the little bits like the tea leaves, the little bits of rocks, the odd little bit of green and brown. Really nice simple way of doing like a highland or a wood base. And obviously when this is painted up as well, those bits of cork won't look like cork. But perhaps one of the most easiest ways to actually base a miniature. And then just add a bit more colour or visual interest. We're going to get that clump foliage that I showed you earlier, some little blobs of this, and stick it down onto the base. So a bit more spread it, because this stuff looks like moss, so I'm going to do it like in between the rocks and things. Just put a little dab of glue. To keep this really simple, what I like to do is at least use one of each shade of the green, and then also on a base like this, I want to keep this really simple. I'm just going to paint the bits of cork and keep it as is. And this stuff's here to sort of, again, add more colour, more visual interest, but also hide those seams from the base to the actual where the cork sits on it. And that's why you apply the cork first, because when you got your basing mix that's on there, the glue will spread out and it goes up into the sides of the cork, and it'll cut out all those seams that are on there as well. And again, it just makes it look a bit more tidy and a bit more natural, as it were. And then I've seen people do similar stuff to this, and then you can once it's dry, paint it like a black, and then do like a weird alienscape. There's things like purple tufts that you can get, things like that, and you could actually paint all this. Once this is fully dry, it'll go rock hard, and just dry brush this up in various colours. It doesn't have to be a natural sort of wilderness. Just while that's dry, I'm going to show you a couple of examples. So this is a gift a friend of mine did for me. The idea is this is our two D&D characters, but you can see he's done it really simply. He hasn't even gone all the way to the edge with the basing material, and then just add a bit of colour, three little tufts, and then two slightly larger rocks. It's enough just to add a bit of visual interest, that rather than just having those two guys on a black base. Now another one is for the miniature that you actually followed and built last week. So I've put him on a plinth. I'm going to do a display piece for this. I just want to point out, so this is just using the process I've just shown. So these are bits of cork. I've put a bit of texture paste, a few little sort of flat rocks from the garden, just to build it up and just to cut those seams out. Added a few little things like the spikes with the heads on and whatnot, just to add it a bit more character. And it's going to add, when it's all painted, you'll see the difference from that basic grey plastic on a black disc. Completely different. Now yes, it is on a plinth as well, because it's going to be a display piece, but what I'll actually show you now is the one I've actually already painted for the army, the same miniature, and really simple. Just a bit of the pine bark, a bit of the texture paste to cut out all those little seams. Painted it orange, brown, dry brushed it orange. That's it. And see, there you go. That's what it starts like. All the miniatures in this army, it's just the texture paste and the pine bark chip, and that is it. But again, it adds that height to the miniature. It makes it look a bit more grandiose. Something a bit more visually interesting on the base, and the colour ties in with the sort of theme as well. And it's a really simple way to actually elevate your miniatures when you come to painting them. Now if you don't want to go into all the effort and doing the other bits and stuff, I'm going to show you some other options. So these are simple bases that you can actually go and buy. So this first one, these are 3D printed bases, and all that's been done is just a little tuft's been added to add a bit of colour, and they've just been dry brush grey. Really simple, really effective, and you can get them in different sizes depending on, obviously if your game's got specific sizes for the miniatures or whatnot. Really simple way of doing it. You can actually replicate this yourself as well, just putting some thick cardboard down into the style of the tiling, and a tuft if you want to save a bit more money and just put it onto your actual base that came with the miniature if it's a plain one. But the option is there for 3D printing as well. Right, another cool one that I found, and again just 3D printed. Now with this, no tufts or anything, it's just how it's been painted to make it look like it's a mosaic floor, and that the patterning all sort of comes together, and it's just picking out certain strips. So you got like, so clearly there's like a yellowy orange circle in the middle, and then this grey trim, and then more of like a papyrus type of colour on there as well. Again, really simple way. You'll notice the actual bases and the way they're printed, it is a touch higher as well, again adding that little bit of elevation to your miniature. You could then rubble these up a little bit if you wanted and glue on top of these, but if not, a really simple way again of just giving a bit more interest to your miniatures. And if you want a theme for your army as well, it's quite cool. So maybe you've got like I don't know, some sort of medieval hospitaller knight or something, and you've got this whole army, and have these as a running theme all the way through. It's another way of bringing all your army together as well, is having them all with the same sort of basing. Really simple, and quite a cool print this is actually. Right, now this one I want to show for something that's, you know, a bit more effort put into it. So this is a base, and what they've done is they've got some stones or bits of like cut up plastic to make it look like rubble. Stuck some bigger bits on, and then a load of tufts on there with these little yellow flowers which you can buy as it's like a tuft, but they'll have different colour flowers on. And this is a beautiful little base that's been done, and really does set it off nice. This is a nice one for like a hero or something. Really cool base, but it's just to show you like what you can do. You don't have to just put, you know, 2 or 3 sporadic tufts. If you really want to go to town, you could do something like this. It's cracking base this is, and just want to show off that if you want to put that more effort in, you can do as much or as little with your miniature basing as you want, starting with the simple, just to, you know, from if you just want to have the black base or just paint a colour on top, through to a bit of sand or basing texture, or the diorama pastes, add a bit of bone park, or, you know, anything like that, or a few rocks or whatever it is, right the way up to something like this. Next one we'll look at is like another level up as well. Now there's a lot of effort gone into this, but again, just to show you how far you can go. So it looks like cork to build up the height. There's some water texture with the piping and the sort of little puddle at the bottom. Various different types of tufts and clump foliage for that sort of mossy look as well. You can see that there's been like there's some sort of like the diorama paste across the bottom to give it that wet muddy look where the water meets, and then on top for those wooden planks, a really simple one, you know, those cheap wooden stirrers that you find in coffee shops and fast food outlets, perfect for that. And you know, just cut them up, gnarl up the edges, gouge a bit out, and then just pile them on. And again, with this, you'll find it does look fantastically impressive. It really does, but very, very simple stuff on here, and it's how it's been painted that elevates it, and the different use of colours. So the majority of all the foliage is green, but then you've got those 2 reddy orange tufts at the bottom, almost like long reeds, and it draws the eye, and it marries up with the orange on the actual where the cork or whatever the material is to give the height. Again, just adds a ton of visual interest. If you really want to push yourself, you can go into something like this, as I said, or you can keep it really basic. Next one I'm going to show you an even simpler one for a completely different scale of war game as well. Now with this one, it was to show you just the simple flock or base mixture is a really easy way of doing it. These are sort of flames of war scale, possibly a touch smaller, so we're sort of looking anywhere from 6mm high for each soldier, right the way down to maybe 4 or 5. And it's just simply it's on based on a piece of card, thick cardstock, and then just flocked, which is just the glue and like the base ready mixture we did on the test one earlier. Just put that on top, really simple. And again, it's depending on the scale and things, you could go in and add little flowers and tufts and things, but it might look a bit out of place. And what this person's done here is really, really simple. Just flocked everything. It's all unique, and you can just see, you know, the little soldiers on there, and that's it, enough and done. So you don't, again, it's just to reaffirm, you don't have to go and spend loads of money on stuff and do loads of different things for each miniature base. Like for a normal 28mm scale, I'd say your heroes, yeah, put a bit more effort in, because they're your heroes. They're the ones that you're going to spend a bit more time painting as well. But your rank and file, just keep it nice and simple. A rock or a bit of cork to give it a bit of height, and then a little splash of colour depending on what you want to do, and the theme behind the actual army as well. Right, so I hope that helps with beginners, especially with the basing. These videos not necessarily going to be weekly, but they'll be thrown in every so often when I come up with something that I'm doing, because I'm working with someone who's never done miniature gaming at the moment, and they're asking some really cool questions that I take for granted because I've been doing this for years. So when something comes up, I'm like, okay, we'll make a video out of that, and I'll share that with. But this will be an ongoing sort of series within all the normal painting and whatnot. But I hope it's helped. Any questions, please feel free to ask. I'll always answer them. And again, if it's something that I think will help a lot, I'll actually go and put it up and make a video on it as well. So please feel free to comment. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you all on the next video. So we've got some painting coming up, and I'm hoping to get this piece done for it's like a community project that Welsh Miniature Board Gamers doing, where we've all got to build a little diorama, roughly sort of beer mat size is sort of like the remit. But other than that, we've got a free run, so I'm hoping I can get that built and painted in time. But if not, we'll see you all on the next video. Cheers.